How's it going, everybody? And welcome to Just Noise Podcast. I'm your host, Ryan.
And I'm your host, Dean.
And today we're doing a podcast.
Woo!
If you're new to the channel, please smash the subscribe button and hit the like button. Also, comment what you guys want us to talk about next week. As you can see throughout this video, we took your suggestions from last podcast and we're going to talk about it today. So let's get into the podcast.
Yes, starting off the podcast, we're going to talk about the darkest movie and TV theories.
Ooh.
So this is what I got. So first, we got to talk about the dark Lilo and Stitch theory. Now, this has been all over Reddit, but there's a theory on why Lilo feeds Pudge the fish. We've talked about this multiple times.
Yeah, and I think as I really sit with it,
Yeah.
the more I understand the message behind Lilo and Stitch,
Uh-huh.
it does make the story a lot darker.
Yeah.
But it makes sense why it's included. Like, Lilo seems like this belief, has this belief. I
Right.
believe. Yeah.
So if you guys didn't know, we see in the opening scene of Lilo and Stitch that Lilo feeds a fish a sandwich. And then she goes into hula class and she's late. She's like explaining why she's late. And she says, I had to feed Pudge the fish a sandwich. And she's like, he controls the weather. And that's why she has to feed him.
Right.
But later in the movie, we see why this is very significant. Like, you think this is just a small scene in the movie, but it's actually very meaningful. So later in the movie, Lilo explains how her parents actually died. And she says that they died in a car crash during a rainstorm. So when you go back to when she says she needs to feed Pudge the fish, she feeds Pudge the fish a sandwich because she knows that he controls the weather and she doesn't want anyone else to die like her parents did.
Right.
So technically, Lilo feeds Pudge because she doesn't want anyone else to die that she loves. Or anyone else on the island. That's one of the darkest Disney theories, I think, that's out there.
Yeah, I think in terms of Lilo and Stitch, it is a really sad movie.
Yeah.
What's so cool is that the director of Lilo and Stitch is the same director of The Wild Robot.
Right.
And sadly, we've only seen the first 30 minutes of The Wild Robot, but apparently The Wild Robot's supposed to be really good.
Yeah.
And really sad.
Right. Okay, the next theory is a dark Encanto theory. This was also on Reddit.
Okay.
So we see in Encanto that Mirabel doesn't have powers, right?
Yes.
And she's kind of neglected by Abuela because she doesn't have powers.
It's very clear, yeah.
Right. But there's a theory that the reason why Mirabel doesn't have powers is because she was born for the wrong reason. Now, we've talked about this theory too. And the theory is that since Abuela, like, always loves the kids that have powers, right? She's always trying to make them perfect.
Uh-huh.
Always super hard on all of them. But she's not hard on Mirabel because she doesn't really care that she doesn't have powers.
I forgot about this theory.
Right? So the theory is that Abuela actually forced Mirabel's parents to have Mirabel to try to get another child that she could make perfect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So in turn, she was born for the wrong reason. She wasn't born out of like just wanting another child. It was born because Abuela wanted another child with powers.
Wow.
Yeah. And then after Mirabel, we had Antonio, right? But
Right.
Antonio, different situation for Antonio.
Yeah.
But that's the reason why Mirabel doesn't have powers.
It makes sense.
Yeah, because the Casita knew not to give Mirabel powers because the Casita knew that she was born for the wrong reasons.
What I wonder is before Mirabel was born then, were they making kids with the intention? Like, was Abuela trying to have, the kids
Right.
made so that she could have, more powers?
Yeah.
Or was Mirabel the first one that was like, Abuela was like, hey, look, you guys better have kids because we need more powers?
I mean, it makes sense because you see how hard she is on like Luisa, right?
Yeah.
She's like, you need to get another one.
Yeah.
So it could be that way.
Yeah, and it makes sense. I mean, it makes the story make more sense why Mirabel wasn't given powers.
Right.
Like, there's just no way it's just a mistake.
Yeah.
There's a reason why, and I feel like if that was the case, it makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, the next theory is actually a Snow White theory that we've talked about a long time ago, that the prince is actually the Grim Reaper.
Oh my gosh, it's been... when was that?
It was a long time ago.
You told me this a long time ago?
Yeah, so this was on BuzzFeed. So we see in Snow White, right? When her and the prince kind of first meet, she sends him a dove. Now, what the dove can symbolize is the sending of a soul.
Okay.
Because it's a white dove. It's kind of like symbolism. So it symbolizes giving a soul. So she's sending him her soul technically, right? And when she gets knocked out, she needs to have like the kiss of the love of her life, right?
Yeah.
So when the prince kisses her, that's him actually like accepting the soul and like taking her to her death, pretty much. Because at the end of the movie, you see them ride off on a white horse, right?
Into the sky, right?
Into the sky.
Yeah.
There's a castle in the sky. So basically, they're saying that she's kind of dead. And a white horse symbolizes death. So when you take like the symbolism of the items in the movie,
Yes.
the white dove, soul, she's riding off into the sky on a white horse that symbolizes death. So the prince basically took her to her death.
It does make sense.
It makes sense because of what the symbolism, like the symbols mean.
It makes sense because if you tie in the symbolism plus the ending,
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, because the ending really doesn't make sense.
Yeah, because for the most part, yeah, I get it, it's fantasy, right? But to go up in the sky in the end isn't very necessary.
Yeah, what Disney princess has done that?
Yeah.
None, besides her.
You could argue Hercules.
Well, okay, but
I mean,
that's like
they could live in
yeah,
the sky.
that's like Greek goddess.
Yeah, but I hear what you're saying. It doesn't make sense. You would think they would live on Earth together.
Right, but they don't. So
Boom.
those are some dark theories.
I did something a little different. So
Okay.
what I wanted to do was I asked ChatGPT
Whoa.
to give me 2 of the darkest theories.
Okay.
And what ChatGPT said, and I can show you guys right here.
Gosh, that's actually really interesting.
Just right here. It's literally ChatGPT. Okay, here are 2 dark theories about animated movies.
Okay.
Now, this is the first one.
Yeah.
Now, the title of this theory is The Toy Story Death of a Toy Theory.
Ooh.
In Toy Story, the universe,
Yeah.
toys are sentient beings that rely on the love and attention of their owners to stay alive. This leads to the dark theory that when toys are broken beyond repair or forgotten, they essentially die. The most unsettling part of this theory is that toys are aware of their mortality but cannot prevent it.
Oh.
We see this with Sid's mutilated toys in the first film.
Uh-huh.
While they are still sentient, they live in constant pain and fear.
Right.
Additionally, in Toy Story 3, when the toys face the incinerator, they accept death, showing that toys can feel pain and fear death just like humans. This theory suggests that toys live in a constant existential crisis, knowing that one day they will inevitably be abandoned or destroyed.
Whoa. Wait, that's crazy.
Well, it makes sense, right?
It makes sense, but you never think of it like that.
Right, you never think about like the possibility of these toys dying.
Right.
But look at Lotso, right? He's so hurt.
Yeah.
They're all hurt by being abandoned.
Yeah.
And in Toy Story 3, all the toys like they hold hands, right? Because they're accepting their fate
Right.
of death.
Oh, so they know that there's okay. That's interesting because now it's like we know that there's a death for them.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes
And
sense.
they're aware that
Yeah.
there's a death for them too.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Okay, moving on to the second one. The post-apocalyptic theory in Cars. Now, this one, you and I both
Yeah.
know this one pretty clearly. The Cars series portrays a world where vehicles have replaced humans as the dominant species. The dark theory suggests that the world of Cars is actually a post-apocalyptic Earth where humans were wiped out and machines now sentient have inherited the planet. According to this theory, the Cars were originally created with artificial intelligence and designed to serve humanity. After some catastrophic events wiped out the human race, the Cars evolved to take over, mimicking human behavior and society as they adapted to their newfound freedom. The eerie part is that remnants of human civilization still exist, still building an infrastructure, but they're left abandoned and repurposed by the Cars, implying that they are living in a world built for humans but with no memory or understanding of what really happened to their creators. This theory casts the vibrant, colorful world of Cars in a much darker light, and it suggests its dystopian future where humanity is extinct and the machines are left to carry on a hollow imitation of human life.
Yeah. See, what's crazy about that theory, the Cars would not be able to build what they have if humans weren't there first.
Right. You could tell that like buildings, everything,
Right.
Cars aren't doing that.
Yeah. Like, it's very weird when you think about it. If you really look at the movies and you watch, like, the surroundings and everything like that,
Yeah.
it was made for humans.
Yeah.
And they just changed it as time went on.
Right. It's obvious.
Yeah.
Well, comment what you guys think. Which theories you think are plausible? Which theories you think are not plausible? And also let us know some theories that you guys think are true that we haven't talked about. We'd love to react to them and we'll, shout you out on the podcast.
Yeah. So, movie news now.
Okay.
Spider Noir has officially started filming with Nicolas Cage.
Really?
Yeah, and they actually have set photos. And there's a set photo of Nicolas Cage. We'll put it on the screen. There's a set photo of Nicolas Cage walking, and it has a headline of a Daily Bugle newspaper.
That is awesome.
So it says Silvermane.
Uh-huh.
That's actually a villain. I think that's going to be the villain of the series.
Wow.
Yeah, but that's Nick Cage, Spider-Man.
That's cool.
Spider Noir is going to be a broken down, busted Spider-Man. So I don't know what that means, but that's like the quote they use. Broken down, busted Spider-Man.
Interesting.
Yeah. Some more news is that there is going to be a Rugrats live action movie. Did you hear about this?
I have not heard that, but if I'm not mistaken, haven't they made a Rugrats movie before?
I think they have. But this is a new one.
Okay.
So it's going to be CGI babies in a live action world.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I think they're going to try to make it seem like to have the actual look of the old characters and put them into like a real life world.
That seems interesting. That seems like it could be a good show or movie. It's a movie, right?
Yeah. Also, the first episode of the Phineas and Ferb revival is complete. So I guess they're doing a whole revival of Phineas and Ferb, and they finally finished the first episode. And that is, I don't know when it's set to release.
Why do I feel like it's already been released?
I mean, this news was from a day ago, so.
I feel like Dan Povenmire, didn't he what am I thinking of? Is there like a movie that just released the Phineas and Ferb or something that just came out Phineas Ferb related?
I don't know.
So what you're saying is they completed the first episode So like editing it and it's
Yeah.
ready to go.
It's ready to go.
Oh.
Yeah.
That should be good.
That's the movie news I have.
That should be really interesting. Okay, moving on. Let's talk about the Joker. Now, we just saw Joker 2. It's very divisive, okay? Let's just get it out of the way. I'm not sure by the time this video comes out, it'll be October 5th, right? Is when the movie comes out.
I believe so.
So it's October 3rd right now. So by the time this video comes out, I would assume that the movie
Has released to the public.
Yeah. Now, let's talk about a few things. I enjoyed the movie.
Yeah.
I think that maybe it's because I went into the movie knowing that people were saying it's really bad, so I kind of went in with lower expectations.
Yeah.
Now, if you go into the movie with super high expectations, like, hey, it's going to be like the first one, maybe
You're going to hate it, right? It's definitely not going to be the same. If you're expecting the first one, it's not going to be what you expect then.
Yeah. My reasoning behind the reason why I liked it was that it is truly what would happen, I think, if he was in jail. This version of Joker.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the gadgets. He doesn't have the stuff to get him out of
No.
jail. It's just very grounded. This universe is not the normal Joker. And it just shows what would happen to this version of the Joker if he was being put in a situation where he was going to be given the death sentence, essentially.
Right.
I get it that people don't like it. I can see why you'd be thrown off. If you're expecting the first movie, yeah, you'd be disappointed. And I mean, look at the first movie, right? The first movie, as much as we all loved it, there's a lot of people that didn't like it.
Right.
And I don't know if it's going to be this, like the same case with this movie, that there's a chance that a lot of people that have seen it may not like it, but maybe when the public sees it, there's going to be they're going to embrace it more.
Yeah.
There's always that chance.
There's always that chance. I just feel like there's so many people that are hating it right now.
Yeah.
That it's not really going to go much higher than what people are saying.
I just think if you go watch The Joker, you should go into it thinking that it's not the first movie. It is literally the continuation of what would happen to Arthur as if he's the same one from before.
Right. And there's also people out there that have said that they haven't seen the first one, but they really like this one.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's a horrible movie.
It bottles down to expectations, right?
Yeah.
Like if you went into it thinking like the Joker 2 is going to be like Joker 1 on steroids.
Right.
It's not. It's not that. It's a different story. It's definitely more grounded.
Very grounded.
Now, the way I use the word grounded is like it's not like big scale action, right? It's just more of a condensed like indie film almost, where you see like just this dark situation that, Arthur is in, and he's living out the repercussions from the first one.
Right.
And that's where people have to realize that it's literally what would happen if someone had to live with the repercussions of the previous actions and went through the legal system, went through like the psych ward.
Mm-hmm.
What would that process be like? And that's what makes this movie so interesting and intriguing, because it takes a big swing that it didn't do what people would expect.
Yeah.
It went the route of, no, let's just show them what would happen if
Right.
a person were to do these crimes, and what would it look like?
Yeah. And this is a movie with a lot of twists and turns in it. So I will just say there's like a lot of shockers in the movie.
Yeah, there's a lot of shockers. The ending is very surprising.
Yeah.
We won't spoil the ending, but if you have seen it, you know exactly what we're talking about. By now, everyone will know the ending.
Yeah. But I think Ryan's right. It boils down to expectation of this movie.
Yeah.
You cannot expect it to be the first one on steroids. You can't expect this one to be exactly like the first one. The first one was super good, like a masterpiece, right?
Yeah.
But you cannot expect that of this one. And I think when people expect that, that's when they come out of that movie saying like, oh, this was such a bad movie.
Yeah, and I think moving forward, this Joker universe is probably done. I know Todd Phillips said he's done after this Joker 2. And I really don't think the plan was to have Joker 2. The first one made over $1 billion.
Right.
The studio obviously wants to have another Joker moment.
Yeah.
And Todd Phillips maybe wasn't really in for that. I think he really wanted to be done after Joker 1. I think for him, what he wanted to do was really end the story. Like, he already knew he made a great movie on the first one, and the second one wasn't to add much more. It was just to show, like, this is how it's going to end.
Yeah.
Because I already intended it to be done.
Yeah.
And this is now what you would assumed would have happened after.
Right.
With that being said, I think it was great. I think it was a very interesting process of watching, because you think something's going to happen, it doesn't happen, or you think something was going to go a certain way and it goes a different way, which
Right.
I think is beautiful in film, and I think it's good that it didn't go the way we thought.
And they've also said before this movie, I mean, it hasn't come out yet, but before they started showing this movie,
Yeah.
they did say that this is a different Joker, right? This is a different Harley. It's not the Joker and Harley that we're used to.
Right.
So you got to go in with that expectation, right? You can't go in expecting the Harley and Joker that Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn,
Right.
It's a very different Harley, and it's a different Joker. So
Well, I mean, Harley's name isn't even Harley in the movie.
Right.
It's Lee, right?
yeah.
Which is, I mean, tells you right there that
Yeah,
it's totally
it's totally different. Oh, there was some other news that came out a little while ago about Mandalorian. So I guess after the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, I think that's it for the Mandalorian, but Din Djarin will appear in other Star Wars projects after that.
Yeah, I feel like that would make sense.
Yeah, I feel like they have to keep him because, like, Mandalorian, we all know when that first episode came out, like, it was crazy.
Yeah.
We're like, oh, this is it.
Yeah,
Star Wars is back.
Star Wars is awesome. Yeah, I mean, what's so great about the Mandalorian is the character, he has his helmet on majority of it.
Right.
You might as well keep him around because you don't have to pay the actor like crazy money, you know?
You just need to pay Pedro Pascal to voice him.
Yeah.
Really.
Right.
Because he even said, right, that he's not always the one in it.
No, once he said, like, the mask is on, it's not him in it usually.
Oh.
I could be wrong, but I know there was a time when he wasn't really doing it that much.
Yeah, you have to keep Din Djarin in.
Yeah.
He's going to be part of the future of Star Wars, so.
I just felt a little rushed to kind of, like, have it come to a close. You know,
I see.
I would have loved to see, like, these characters that were introduced in the Disney Plus universe to, like, really be the future of the Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
Like Luke Skywalker, you know, like a young Luke Skywalker would be cool to see more on screen. Ahsoka, like Thrawn, like it would have been really cool.
I feel like they have to bring back Luke in, like what we saw in, was that in Boba Fett or was that Mandalorian?
Well, isn't Luke in Boba Fett?
Yeah, okay. So if we get that Luke, right, in this show, we need to get that Luke on a big screen somewhere down the line.
Well, isn't he in? He's probably going to be in the movie. Is it called Mandalorian and Grogu?
I think it's called Mandalorian and Grogu.
Yeah, so I think he's going to probably be in it.
I hope so.
It wouldn't make sense for him not to be.
But I just hope that we get those like action scenes that we got with Luke. That one like hallway scene with Luke.
I just hope we get back to like some crazy action in the Star Wars universe. Like really screw some stuff up. Like really get in there and like give me some epic fighting.
Yeah.
In the movie cinema theater experience.
Like I know The Last Jedi wasn't great.
Yeah.
Right, but
at least the action was there,
right?
The last scene.
But I don't know. Like, we just need that. We need some crazy action in Star Wars.
Well, especially, I want to see crazy action with Luke Skywalker.
Right.
Right. Show us Luke Skywalker doing something crazy because we never had the chance to see it.
Yeah.
Like, the technology just wasn't there back in the day, and now you guys have the technology. Show us something crazy with Luke.
Yeah, because he took out those droids, right? Okay. Now, let's see something that Luke is, like, crazy capable of doing that only Luke could do. I mean, yeah, I'm sure a lot of Jedi couldn't do what Luke did in that scene.
Yeah.
But let's see like Luke go up against someone that he'll just like decimate.
When The Force Awakens came out, there was concept art for The Last Jedi. And what it showed was Luke taking down a Star Destroyer with the Force.
Oh.
That just showed like how powerful he was. And yeah, obviously they didn't end up doing that, but it would be really cool to see stuff like that where Luke is just so overpowered. Just give us some moments of that.
Yeah, because I feel like the only person that was really able to do that was Starkiller.
Yeah, and we haven't seen Starkiller.
I don't think we're ever going to see Starkiller.
I heard Cal Kestis is supposed to be getting a Disney Plus show, though.
Really?
I mean, that's what the word on the street is.
I mean, I'd be open to it.
Yeah, I mean, mine as well. They probably were like, we have this IP and this character that everyone's like hoping for.
Yeah, the game does so well.
Yeah, they're like, we got to resort. We lost Acolyte, so we got to go for this.
Right. I think the future of Star Wars could be good.
No, I think it's great. I think the future is great. I think there was so many shows that they were testing out that they realized, hey, this isn't working. So let's just focus now on what's going to work.
Right.
And I'm really excited for Skeleton Crew.
Yes.
I think it like is really cool because it's like the Goonies mixed with Stranger Things, mixed with Star Wars. And I think that is refreshing and new and adventurous. So I think we're definitely in the right direction. And Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, they know what they're doing. That I'm sure the Mandalorian movie is going to come together. Obviously, that's their love, right? That's their passion. Right. And when it comes to the Mandalorian and Grogu, that was like, yeah, Jon Favreau's done a lot of amazing things in cinema.
Yeah.
Right? Elf and Iron Man. But I think really what he did with Star Wars was something that was really impressive.
Yeah.
And obviously, Iron Man will never be touched, what he did with Iron Man. Yeah. But what he did with Star Wars to reinvent Star Wars and come out of this slump, I really am excited for what they're going to do because they have so much invested into this. And I think Jon Favreau really wants to stick the landing because him and Dave Filoni were so dedicated on making The Mandalorian to be,
that's
what
their
it is.
baby.
Yeah, so I think they're going to really make sure it was good. Now, we also saw at D23, we actually got to see the trailer for The Mandalorian and Grogu.
We saw a little bit, right?
Yeah, I think they showed us the trailer.
Oh, that was the whole trailer?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And if I remember correctly, it was...
Oh, you're right. It was the trailer.
It was pretty epic.
Yeah, it looks
Is
good.
it Bobo Feek? What do you call those things?
Babu Freak?
Babu Freak. He's in it.
Hey.
Yeah. Some of the action sequences were pretty impressive. Like,
yeah.
Weren't there like a shot where like they're in the snow and they're the stormtroopers in like one of those walkers in the snow?
Gosh, I think so.
I could be making this up. I just thought maybe I'm dreaming. But I remember there were some sequences where I was like, whoa, that is cooler because we don't really see that in the show. Like they're trying to push some barriers, and I think that's what's going to be so cool to see.
Oh, I remember. We saw Grogu with Beskar.
Oh.
So he has like Mandalorian armor.
Did we see that?
I think we saw that.
Oh.
I feel like I remember going like, that was Beskar.
Yeah.
Like he had like a chest plate, I think. Like his own like little chest plate.
I wonder like they're going to show him fighting.
The Force.
You don't think he's going to be doing any lightsaber stuff?
No.
Can you imagine all of a sudden they use like a CGI Grogu? It's just.
Okay, if they come out and they have Grogu start fighting with a lightsaber, like he gets a little bit of training from Luke, that's pretty crazy.
That's why I think Luke's got to be in it.
Yeah, but they did have that whole like deal, right? You either pick the lightsaber or you pick going with Mandalorian. Like it's like
I just feel like it's such a lame ending if you don't have all these characters that were together on this ride come together at the end.
Yeah. Unless they're gonna do this thing where like Grogu's like could get good with like a gun, but also have like the Force. So he's like a Force sensitive like gunslinger.
It is hard to take it seriously though, because like Grogu, the way he moves, I'm kind of like I can't see him using a lightsaber in this one.
Jumps around.
That's why I don't see him using a lightsaber.
Yeah. It's kind of like Yoda, right? When he fights, he kind of just jumps around.
Right, but when you look at the CGI Yoda, I'm like, yeah, that is bad. Like that's cool. You know?
Yeah. you see little Grogu and you're like, oh, that's not cool.
No, I think it's cool.
I think Mandalorian Grogu is going to be a great movie.
Yeah, I think so too. Thank you guys so much for watching this podcast and listening to it. If you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button and hit the like button. If this video gets 1,000 likes, we'll be giving away a hot toy to one of you guys.
Yeah.
Ideally, let's do a Star Wars hot toy. So comment below a Star Wars hot toy you'd like, and make sure you stay tuned for next week's episode, and also check out TikTok and Instagram and all the platforms where we can talk to you.
See you on the TikTok.
God bless you guys. We love you.
See ya. I go love ya.
Oh, well, I love them too.
See ya and love ya.
Goodbye. Love ya.